Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Author's Den, where we connect you with the authors and the books they write for you as readers. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by my co-host, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. Taz. Have a very special guest that's joining us today. We can go ahead and connect with our friends over on Instagram as well as on Amazon Live. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys do put those in the chat. We have the chat open everywhere. And we are live on Amazon Live with the Author's Den here with myself, my co-host, Dr. Teresa A. Smith, and our special guest today, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and media personality, Chanelle Coleman Wesley. We're excited to talk to Chanelle about her writing journey and also her advice for all of you. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon side, please make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You see that here in this corner or down below. Our brand new show, At Home with Cyrus Webb, premieres this coming up Tuesday, February the 4th. You don't want to miss it. So make sure you guys are staying updated. Also, in the carousel there, you will notice Chanelle's books. I have this book highlighted right now. She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically is there, as well as the other books by Chanelle. But Chanelle, how we doing?
Doing great, Cyrus.
Yes, happy Sunday. I'm excited to be here.
Look, we're glad to have you with us, Chanelle. Again, we do welcome all of those tuning in on social media as well. If you guys are not on the Amazon side, there's a link that will bring you guys over to Amazon to be able to get Chanelle's book. Chanelle, I'm going to kick things off for us. It's been my pleasure to not only call you a client, but also a friend. And it's been great to be able to have read your books and to see the impact you've been able to make. I want to ask you a pretty broad question to get things kicked off, Chanelle, and that is about reflection. I think so many times when we write books or we're involved in things, we sometimes forget about the impact we're able to make. What has it been like for you as we're beginning a new year to kind of think about the lives you've been able to touch by the words you've written?
Cyrus, it's really I like that full circle moment. When you're writing to a specific audience and someone that you're hoping is going to be able to have either a transition or to have an aha moment or something that they can truly resonate. And when you become aware that you actually hit the target, it's a moment of satisfaction of what you wanted. You're excited about what you were doing, but then you're also humbled, at the same time that this was able to provide that for someone else. And so it's just been something that has been really impactful, to me as an author.
Yeah. I want to ask you something I've been asking people about, and I don't have scripted questions, Chanelle, but for you, because I've read your books, I think, for a lot of times being vulnerable, being open, Taz has done this too in her books, it can open you up, but also I think it can also allow you to be able to receive connections from others you wouldn't have expected. What has that vulnerability done for you in your work to know that even in touching about things that can be difficult to address, that you've been able to find people who have resonated with your story and found healing through it?
Cyrus, I think that that's a great question, and I love that question. It's a full circle moment. It shows your growth as an individual. There was a question someone asked me about, where do you write? And I was thinking, like, I don't really want to say where I write at because they might see that as odd, because I write in my bed. That's where I'm most comfortable. But it's also a place that I was traumatized in, a place where I found, like I was devoid of my power and my voice and all those other things. But it's, uncanny, the same place that I felt that I cried in, that I was traumatized in, I was also gained strength from, and I motivate and inspire other people from. So although initially I was a little reluctant to say, where I've written from, when I actually had that aha moment for myself, I'm like, I'm going to say it because this is the truth and this is what happened and this is how it looks on the other side of things. So although you may be in a space at this moment in this particular place, doesn't mean you're always going to remain there.
Yeah, love that. Hello to you. Tanya White is joining us over on IG. Niles and Chaz, we have to get together soon. Thank you so much for joining us over there on IG. Really appreciate that. Chanelle, I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Taz. Taz, it's all yours.
Thank you, Cyrus. Chanelle, I want to massage your response to Cyrus just a little bit more. You indicate that you write in your bed, which is a place where you experience pain, but also a place of transformation. So when you initially started writing, were you writing in your bed at that time also?
Yes, I mean, everything that I've written, whether it's a play, whether it's a book, whether it's something like I love poetry, anything that I've written creatively, all of it's happened in my bed, and I wanted to say, well, I write at a desk and I write in my comfy chair, but that's not where I write. I write in my bed. And then I had to own that moment because that's where I write it, but that's also where I feel most powerful at as well.
So now, what helped you to get safe in your skin to be able to say that you write from your bed unapologetically?
I love the question, Dr. Taz. I think it's, God's ability to be able to help you to be able to draw strength from the same places where you've cried in. God, He is the ultimate transformation specialist. And He's able to take you from a space where you thought that I would never be able to do X, Y, Z in this space because of this space. I was devoid of all of these different things. But God is able to show His ability to be God in situations and surrender and allowing that, at first I allow the title, a tag, a victim to kind of like own me. And so I walked in that and I behaved that way, and everything that I did was in response to that. But then I had to understand that I own it and I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. This is where I come from. And this is not where I'm currently at this moment in space. And so having that aha moment and being able to own the title and grab a hold of it and possess it and not allow it to possess me has been a shift in just how I think, how I address things, how I, negotiate things. And so I'm in a position of power, whereas before I was in a space where, I was feeling very vulnerable and very, as if, someone's going to do something to further do this thing. But I had to understand that, where my position truly lied in, and that, I am more than a conqueror. So that I had to be able to own that.
I love that. And I love the fact where my position relied in. I think that's so important. Chanelle, now you write plays, you write books, you write poetry. Do you approach each one of those, I'm gonna call them genres, do you approach them differently? And how do you perhaps approach your plays?
Absolutely. Plays, I feel like I'm my most, heightened self. Because when you're writing, you have to think with the audience in mind, and you really have to have a hand on the pulse because it's easy for audiences to tune you out. And there's nothing like handing a script to people because now you're going to get firsthand, reaction to what you've written. Although you may love what
Yes.
you've written, other people might read it and like, well, I don't get it. That part doesn't make sense, or I hate this character. And so you have to first get the buy-in from your cast. And once you get the buy-in from your cast, everything else kind of falls into place like that. So it feels a lot like stripping down and getting naked and allowing people to see your thoughts and be exposed to them, and then seeing, well, do you still like me now that I showed you everything that I was thinking? How do you feel now? And so I've been blessed to have amazing cast who both are honest and vocal, and which is my core people, my sister, my niece, and my daughter. They see my stuff first, and they're always very vocal. Yeah, hey, we love it. Or if it's not, well, what about with this character? What about that idea? And so we kind of spill that out a little bit more. So I love being able to have that impact of being able to open up something in a different way, which way you present it, whether it's in a play or it's in a book or it's a piece that we're performing, live, because I love monologues as well. So it allows me to be able to be a little bit diverse creatively, and I love that part of it.
Well, it sounds like those beta readers are invaluable, whether it's a play or a book or poetry, and that as authors, we have to put on our tough skin because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the feedback we get, we don't necessarily like it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Chanelle. I'm going to hand it back over to Cyrus now.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Dr.
much for
Fox.
that, guys. We want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of The Author's Den. You just heard from my co-host there, Dr. Teresa Smith, aka Dr. Taz. We're joining you here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting on social media. So we welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. Hello to you, Melissa Banks. She's joining us over there on IG as well. A lot of the CMG family over here. So Chanelle, you are someone, I give Chanelle a hard time, y'all. That's very uncharacteristic of me. You guys know I'm really the softy. But
Yes, he
but
is.
I give Chanelle a hard time because Chanelle is known for trying to bring everyone along with everything. Which sometimes it's a great thing in principle, but I've always believed that we have to have the door open first for ourselves, before we can
Mhm.
really be able to help others. But you are in a unique position, Chanelle, that you've been able to be an author, but also be able to help bring people on, give them their very first opportunities and being published. So, what advice do you have for aspiring authors out there, or those interested in writing, about taking that first step?
Well, first, I want to say this, Cyrus, that I've been quoting you a lot this past week or two, you know, and it's needed. Sometimes when people tell you things, they don't always tell you the things that you want to hear, but that's because, number one, they're speaking from experience. Number two, they have some type of perception that you haven't seen quite yet, and they're looking at things from a different vantage point, and you don't see it yet because you haven't ran into the thing. And then when you see it, then you're like, oh, this is what the person was saying. And so I just wanted to say that to you publicly. I love the advice and continue to be the way that you are with me because it's helping me to grow. But what I would say to the person who is aspiring to write, I would say go ahead and write. Be willing to take yourself outside of the box. So many times we put ourselves into our own box of limiting beliefs and ideas of what we can and can't do, and we don't have this and we don't have that. I would say write, leave it all out on the floor as far as your writing is concerned. Every idea that you think, go ahead and put it down to pen, to paper, have it in place. You never know what doors are going to be open and who's going to come across you that's going to be able to help you take that thing to fruition. And it's better to have those things in place than to not meet the person, than to meet the person who had the perfect thing to be able to help you. And now you're like, well, dang, I didn't write that thing. I didn't follow through with it because I didn't have all of the things lined up. And so just go on ahead and write. Go ahead and write.
Love that. Great advice. Congratulations to you, Chanelle. So proud of you and excited about all the great things that are coming up. Taz, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Thank you, Cyrus. Chanelle, you've just given out some really words of wisdom, and there are probably going to be some folks who want to reach out and see if they can tap into more of that wisdom of just writing so that they are prepared when the opportunity knocks. How can folks get in contact with you?
Well, Dr. Taz and Cyrus, thank you so much for having me on the Authors Den. I want to say that, first of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. People can connect with me on social media, all things Chanelle Coleman Wesley. They can also contact me, Chanelle Coleman Wesley at gmail.com if they want to have a conversation. And I'm always in Messenger. Like, I live inside of there. So, like, if you're like, well, I want to talk to her, like, just go ahead and shoot me a message, direct message, and I'll definitely talk back.
Well, thank you so much, Chanelle, for letting the audience know how they can get in contact with you. And I will second that. You are always in Facebook Messenger. So please reach out to her in Messenger, guys. Cyrus, I hand it back over to you now.
Love that. Taz, let them know how to stay connected with you as well and tell them about the new book.
Well, thank you, Cyrus. You can contact me. Best place really is just to go and follow me on IG, Dr. Teresa Smith. You'll find my Linktree bio there, and it will connect you to everything else: YouTube, Facebook, my website. My new book, Transformation: How Mama's Wisdom Unlocks the Secrets to Success, is going to be available on Amazon. We're doing pre-orders now. The book will drop on February the 11th. So please reach out to me if you're trying to find it and you can't find it. You reach out to me on Messenger, on Facebook, or on IG. I'll respond very quickly, and make sure you have the link. And thank you again, Cyrus, for that opportunity to share.
More than welcome. And we definitely
Congratulations, Dr. Taz, on the book.
Thank you so much, Chanelle.
Yeah. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of the Authors Den. Glad you all could be with us. For those of you joining us on Amazon, again, make sure you guys hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below, to stay connected with all of our programming here on Amazon 6 days a week. For those of you who are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram, you'll find the link associated with the broadcast where you are. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.